Welcome to Fast Draw 101. I'm Howard Darby, and today we're talking about timers.
Shooters on the line. Shooters set.
If it wasn't for a good fast draw timer, we'd be trying to figure out who was the fastest draw like they did in the Old West. But luckily, there was a stuntman working at Knott's Berry Farm in the 1950s who got pretty good at drawing and firing his single-action revolver that he used in his gun shows. And he asked some of the technicians at Knott's Berry Farm to help him time his draw. They came up with a big sweep hand timer. It was a big timer, had one sweep of the hand was 1 second, and they made it so that he could put his finger on a button, which was about 6 inches away from his gun. When he let go of the button, drew his gun, fired, a sound pickup would stop the clock and he could see how fast his draw was. Now that was the start of the timed fast draw as we know it now. There were a number of manufacturers of the sweep hand timers in the 50s and 60s. There was Krondek, Faber, Microtron, and they were all pretty good. They were used in competition quite a bit. Unfortunately, there was a trouble with those timers in that between the different manufacturers, and if you didn't keep the clock maintained very well, it could either be a little fast or a little slow. Now that was fine if you were shooting in a competition because everybody was shooting on the same clock and you had the same fast or the same slow times, and still the fastest shot got the fastest times. But the trouble came when you tried to compare world records, and unfortunately there was quite a bit of swings between what you shot in one contest and then you went to another contest and you shoot totally different times. So it was hard when you were trying to compare the whole sport and see who was the fastest in the sport. In the 1970s, technology advanced enough that we managed to have digital timers in the sport. That gave us the consistency that we needed between the different events and the different venues that we could compare times now. So at that point, they retired all the old world records and started setting new world records on the digital clocks, giving a little more consistency, a little more confidence that the time that was shot was an actual time. Now, digital timers had a secondary advantage in that we were down to 1/1000th of a second. And there was a lot of times when you're shooting when you were getting the same times when you're down to 100ths of a second, but with 1/1000th of a second you could break those ties. So the digital revolution in the 70s allowed fast draw to get to a better, consistent state in the sport. Most fast draw timers are like the one I'm showing you here. This is a JJ Timers fast draw timer. It has an input for the power cord going to both of the lights, and it has the inputs for the target sensors coming in the back. It also has jumper cable to go from one timer to the other. In this case we're running 4 targets off of 2 different timers. There's also a plug-in for the timer button so that the timekeeper can press the button and give the shooter their go signal. This clock also has a display in the middle, that third red readout showing the random between 2 to 5 seconds for the delay. That lets the shooter and the timekeeper know how long the random was before the light came on. Most fast draw timers have 3 different modes. One is a practice mode where the shooter is by themselves. They can start the clock and it will cycle and allow them to shoot, look at their time, and then wait for it to cycle again and they can try again. Another one is an instant on mode, used in walking events generally when the timekeeper has to decide when the light's going to come on. And the third method is the one used most, which is a 2 to 5 second random delay generated by the clock, and then the shooter shoots when that random delay ends. So in this case, with an instant on, it's shooter online, shooter walk. The timekeeper watches the shooter advance, and then when he wants it on, lets go of the button. Shooter shoots, gets his time on the clock. For this timer, you just flip a little switch on the time button. They give the command shooter online, shooter set, 2 to 5 second delay by the clock, light comes on and the shooter shoots. The third method for this timer is by removing the button. When you do that, it puts it into practice mode, which starts a 2 to 5 second delay, light comes on, and it gives 8 to 9 seconds for the shooter to look at the time on the timer, and then starts back again. So 2 to 5 second delay, shooter shoots, they look back, they see the time on the timer, they prepare themselves for their next shot, wait for the light to reset itself, 2 to 5 second delay, shoot again, and they get their time again. They can just keep doing that all evening while they practice. The cables from the clock attach to the targets back here. The power cord goes to wherever the light fixture is attached. In this case of this target, it's in a box in the back, protected by plexiglass on the front with the light fixture inside the box. Then the second cable for the impact sensor goes to the back of the target where the impact sensor is. There's actually one that was built into this target and it can connect in there, or I was using a magnetic one also made by JJ Electronics that attaches to the back of the target. I hope that helps explain how we use timers in the sport of fast draw. I'll also have a video out on targets, so take a look at that so you can see how they work together.